Good morning. This is an assessment on hand injury. I got two questions to ask to my client regarding hand injury assessment. Do I have your permission to use as a case study for my kinesiology 6302 course?
Yes, you do.
Do I have your permission to videotape this assessment and share it with my kinesiology 6302 course?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Today's assessment will look at sustained hand injury, specifically fractures to the long finger, middle finger, and ring finger. Injury occurred on or about November 3rd, 2015, with 3 pins set in each the middle finger and the ring finger. Pins remained until December 5th, 2015, 4 weeks after the injury. Fractures to the long finger, specifically the distal phalanx and head of the middle phalanx. The middle finger, specifically the distal phalanx and the head of the middle phalanx. And the ring finger, specifically the distal and the head of the middle phalanx. Now we're going to do 2 assessments related to the hand injury in order to develop and define my client's progress to recovery in the fracture healing process. The first assessment we're going to do is the long finger flexor test. There are 3 joints each to the long finger, middle finger, and ring finger. Starting with the long finger, I will hold the middle of the phalanx and ask to flex the head of the middle phalanx. I will hold the proximal phalanx and ask to flex the head of the proximal phalanx. I will hold the shaft of the second metacarpal and ask to flex the head of the second metacarpal. Now we're going to do the middle finger. I'm going to hold the middle finger and ask that the middle phalanx is held and ask to flex the head of the middle phalanx. Hold the proximal phalanx and ask to flex the head of the proximal phalanx. And hold the third metacarpal and ask to flex the head of the third metacarpal. Now the ring finger, hold the middle phalanx and ask to flex the head of the middle phalanx. Hold the proximal phalanx and ask to flex the head of the proximal phalanx. And hold the fourth metacarpal and ask to flex the head of the proximal phalanx. The second assessment we're going to do is alignment of the fingers with movement. This evaluation is important in examining a patient with phalangeal or metacarpal fractures. At rest, with the fingers straight, the client actively flexes the finger IP joints in tandem. The nails and the fingers should align with the region of the scapula. At this time, go ahead and align with the region of the scapula. As you can see, if it does not crisscross any of the 3 fingers, the long, the middle, or the ring, then the fracture is not reduced properly and the rotational deformity becomes permanent. Thus, the hand function may be limited. Go ahead and relax. This concludes our assessment of the fracture healing process and development of an initial plan including goals, objectives, and intervention towards designing an exercise program for a hand injury.